My StreamYard is very slow. Woohoo! Can I get like a thumbs up in the chat if you can hear and see Carter and Erica right now?
I have it pulled up on the side and I can't see or hear us.
Oh, okay. It'll maybe take a second to link. Do. Okay, now I'm saying it's my StreamYard now says there's like people viewing. Hannah says thumbs
I
up.
see it.
You can see it? Okay, yay!
I see it.
Welcome everybody to our birthday party. Thank you so much for coming. I'm Erica. This is Carter. Hi, Carter.
Hi, everyone.
Thank you guys for joining us live when you could have just waited 2 days to listen to this on Wednesday. It's really great to have some of y'all here with us. Fun fact, I'm in a closet, so my audio is really echoey. And also, I cannot figure out, this is like an Airbnb closet, I cannot figure out how to keep the lights on. So every minute, I'm going to have to go like this, or the lights are going to turn off. And if they turn off, whatever, it's a podcast anyway. Who needs to see our faces? Thank you for joining us.
The DIY spirit of the podcast. 5 years in, and you know, still trying to keep the lights on somehow.
Exactly. 5 years in, and I had a panic attack thinking about using StreamYard for the first time since January of 2024, when we were doing these all the time for the TV show. But this is a good way, I think, to warm back up, you know, to get back into the swing of like being present on YouTube, which is very stressful to me. Oh no. No.
You need multiple dimensions. You gotta go side to side, front and back, little circles.
That's true.
In the air.
I can't just be in one plane, otherwise it doesn't work.
You gotta Ragio Taiso. Yeah.
I did a Tabata workout this morning and my obliques are killing me. So I'm just I'll just keep it going. I am literally in the closet. Yes. Thank you everybody for that. I'm also wearing, speaking of, I'm wearing this t-shirt. It says Haley Williams is turning your children gay.
Official merch.
It's official Paramore merch. I was really, the second they dropped this, I ordered matching ones for me and my roommate. Unsponsored, unofficial Paramore shout out. Okay, that's enough stalling. We're here for a very important reason. It's hard in life to pause and reflect. It's hard, you know, in this go world. Now more than ever, we have to do things like forcibly make StreamYard free StreamYard links because we don't want to pay for it. That's why you can see the logo in that corner. Forcibly make StreamYard links and spend an hour on Canva creating a birthday invite so that we can force ourselves to reflect on the meaning of 5 years of podcasting. So let's begin today by reminiscing on where we were 5 years ago. We had been sent home from college. It was the spring of 2020, our junior year of college. Everything was shutting down due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Carter and I were in our respective childhood bedrooms on the island of Oahu, and we started rereading Percy Jackson. I think Carter, I want to say you started first.
I think yeah, I'm not sure. It's been 5 years. These are things that I don't remember anymore.
Yes. I really think it was you who started reading them, and I was like, that sounds like a great idea. They're all sitting on my bookshelf. I'm staring at them. I'm going to read them. And I checked back through my Instagram stories archive recently, which the Patreons know because I shared these photos with you. By the time I got to Titan's Curse, we had decided that we were going to do a podcast. This is going to be great for just the audio medium of this episode.
Amazing.
Every 60 seconds.
People always say that the real future of podcasting is YouTube, and we can be like those people who, you know, sit on a couch echoing with their mics just flailing in the wind and with their visual bits. Yeah.
I really have to say, I'm sorry. I don't think the future of podcasting is YouTube. I really don't. I don't understand that at all. I know that like overly stimulated or like understimulated tweens are actually just like listening to that video while they're playing a game on their phone anyway. So how do you need that video content? Why? It's still a podcast. That's another gripe. We're here to satisfy the algorithm though today, visually. Anyway, it was 5 years ago and we decided we were going to do this podcast. We were like really, really bored and thought that we should become content creators because my mom used to drive us around, right, as kids, and she loved the opportunity to drive our friend group around because she thought we were so funny. And she would always say, oh my God, it's taking forever.
I feel like it's getting less and less sensitive.
I think so too.
This bit is just going to keep escalating. It's a good scene
Oh,
partner.
I didn't sign up for cardio. Oh, my lungs. I'm literally not kidding you. I think I did this workout like 8 hours ago and my lungs are still burning.
You gotta watch out. You don't want to get some protein poisoning like our friend. Your kidneys are already going through.
It is true. I'm coming to you live from a kidney infection also. Anyway, my mom would always be like, you guys are so funny. You guys should be on the radio, because remember the radio? And then we did a podcast instead, and we almost did Avatar: The Last Airbender. That was the second contender. But I felt that there was nothing really to say about it because it was perfect. So what were we going to talk about? And it was also like, there were plenty of Percy Jackson podcasts out there, but there were tons of like Avatar podcasts, I feel like. And so we felt that space was maybe oversaturated. So we went with Percy Jackson. And then we started, and we got all of our middle school, high school friends, and also our my friends from my improv group. And that's how we really began, with the OG guests. And we found our footing along the way, and maybe we got a little bit better. We got slightly fancier mics. I got a little bit better, but not that much better at audio editing. Really, the main thing that happened was Robert let us use their Zencaster account, and that allowed us to clean up our audio without me having to learn anything about audio engineering. And it was a wild ride. We were like, knowing that the Percy Jackson TV show was coming, what if we start this? And then when the TV show comes out, we can like be a part of the conversation. And then that happened. And
it did happen.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of different eras, iterations of the podcast. We breezed through those first 5 books pretty quickly, I think. And we've done all, I don't even know what number to use, 15, 17 main series books. We've done Magnus. We're part of the way through the, oh my God. Woo!
Free foot content. Oh no. Yeah. I don't regret how quickly we went through the books though. I don't regret it at all, because I do prefer talking about larger sections, because we're able to talk more about theme and like broader like relationship growth. So I don't regret that we only did 3 episodes per book. The only thing I do regret is only doing 1 episode per book for Magnus Chase, but we can always revisit that maybe in the future when we need to kill time. Yeah, it's been great, and we're really excited for the next season of the TV show to come out. There's so much to say, so much to share in the future, and we'll look forward to that. But until then, should we talk a little bit about birthday presents, Carter?
Yeah, I think this is the first time we're announcing this. Maybe, hopefully. This is a thing that's been like years in the making. Where we decided kind of a while ago, Erica found an original edition hardcover. So imagine like sleeve to go around it, Pegasus on the, oh gosh, Chrysler Building, right? Not Empire. Pegasus with the vines and everything, copy of the Titan's Curse. Hardcover off of eBay or something. I think we bought this in 2023. Is that right? It's been kind of kicking around for a while. I have definitely moved like housing with this book. And I have now gone through and annotated page by page, mostly while riding the buses up and down the hills of San Francisco. So 1 or 2 times you might notice that something is underlined. You might be like, oh, is that actually an underline or is that a strike through? Does it turn into a strike through part of the way through? You know, some of the hills have a stop sign at the bottom and you have to, things happen. But I think it's mostly legible.
Carter got motion sickness for the sake of this giveaway, y'all.
I am constantly motion sick on those buses, so might as well get something out of it. I have media mailed it off. Erica is going to complete these annotations, do some other stuff, maybe in a different color, probably a different color. I did like Muji 0.3 black, which is
I can do Muji 0.3 dark blue.
Hey, yes. So yeah, basically the idea is that we're going to give away this annotated copy of the book.
The reason it's
birthday gift.
As a birthday gift. The reason it was the Titan's Curse is because we were going to do it for our 3-year anniversary, and the Titan's Curse being the 3rd book, but we literally failed to do this for 2 years straight. So instead, it's our 5th birthday, and it's our favorite book, and I think that works fine. And I would have it to show it to you as a prop right now, but it's literally in media mail being shipped to Hawaii, so I can annotate it soon. But I'll post a picture. Here are the rules. I will post, once I can get my butt back on Canva. That last one really took it out of me. But once I can get back on Canva, I'll make a little graphic and I'll post it. But the rules are, we're going to start this in like probably this week, once I have a little post. I want you to share your favorite Seaweed Braid episode to wherever you post on. It could be Instagram, Twitter, Threads, Blue Sky. Make sure you tag us. And if you could also like DM it to me so I can really make sure that I don't miss it. Post your favorite episode, and then on the post that I'm going to make, comment whether or not you think Persebeth is the greatest love story ever told. And lastly, you're going to get an automatic double entry if you're a patron. And if you're a patron, just let me know if you're playing or not. And then we'll announce the winner on June 2nd, which I think is might be our actual birthday, or closer to our actual birthday. And then I will media mail that sucker to you. And it'll be a fun, good time. I don't even know if people really do giveaways anymore. I feel like those were really big when we were kids. Do they do them anymore? I don't know, but we're gonna do it.
I feel like it's a Patreon world out there, and this is not the kind of thing that the other girls are doing on Patreon. I genuinely don't know. I think so.
I don't know.
Maybe.
We can ask our friends who are patrons of many different content creators. But I will make that post by the time this episode is on our main feed, so Wednesday, and then we can start the occasion. This is great. Okay, so that's birthday gifts. It could just be a floating head in the darkness. It's not that bad.
You could just Kaunashi, yeah.
I don't know. It's a little bit too cozy. If it's dark, I'm going to start to get a little sleepy. Okay, last thing we want to do before we invite our guest host into the chat to do some Q&A, which is why we're all here. We wanted to talk a little bit about the Bible. And by the Bible, I mean Circe by Madeline Miller. Carter, while I turn the lights back on, would you tell everybody why we are about to endeavor to cover Circe?
Yeah, this is something a little bit new for us. We have the like real old school. I don't know if anyone has been with us since 2020. There were a few times we did these one-off little episodes covering the books that are outside of the Rick Riordan RRP oeuvre. But I think this is gonna be the first time we're like really multiple episodes diving into another book. The main reason that we're doing this basically is just that a lot of people have asked. And we're like, I guess we could go into the next Kane Chronicles book, but I think this is in the spirit of the event. We're going to be launching in the Sea of Monsters. It's going to be a Circe summer. It's going to be an Odyssey summer. It's going to be a go on a voyage with your friends in the ocean summer. And I think that's the spirit of the event. It is also, as Erica just said, in many ways, a Bible, the Bible. It is probably like the definitive text of the past 10 years for like pop, remix, Greco-Roman. I think it was inevitable. It was going to happen, and it will happen. We're about to do it. We've already recorded an episode. So that's what's coming.
You guys, I'm going to commit to the darkness. Thank you all for the support in the group chat. Just be in darkness. It means a lot to me. I'm just turning on... Were you doing Kaunashi from Spirited Away?
You're doing Kaunashi from Spirited Away.
I'm really sorry for the audio version of this podcast. Imagine us making that sound effect while sticking our hand out for crumbs of affection.
And imagine Erica being basically entirely enshrouded in darkness except for a floating face.
I have a kidney infection. Leave me alone. Guys, while we're here, you don't need to drink electrolytes every single day, okay? It's not something you want to do.
Not too much protein in the bloodstream. Not too much sugar in liquid form. You don't need to
drink electrolytes every day. Yeah. I wish someone told me that, but that's okay. It's really dry in Salt Lake City. So we did already record one Circe episode, so we did kind of a lot of background on that episode. Our first guest is Emily, because we had to bring in somebody who really knows about the classics before we started this book. But I did want to say, like, the reason we're starting with Cersei as we're like going through these Odyssey adaptations is because it is very much a story within the framework of antiquity, retelling this myth, but it is not a hero's journey. It is not a quest kind of a book. And while Sea of Monsters is very much like a traditional quest narrative, I personally, I think Carter as well, we're a lot more interested in things that are not that traditional quest narrative. And so it's really great to see. I'm going to yap in that first episode a little bit about masculine versus feminine storytelling structure. And it was really exciting to start talking about the Odyssey from something already outside of that traditional hero's journey perspective, to start from a feminine storytelling structure, so that we can just change things up right away. We're not that interested in the original. We are much more interested in the adaptations and how we can compare and contrast the adaptations to each other. So we're starting with Cersei, and then we're gonna do like we're not gonna do 6 episodes on anything else. We'll probably do like 1 episode on other things. The TV miniseries that stars Bernadette Peters, the SpongeBob SquarePants movie. That was a suggestion from Robert. Thank you, Robert. The Penelope ad by Margaret Atwood. And then probably once we've done all of that, it's going to be near time to talk about the Court of the Dead. Did you forget about the Court of the Dead? It's coming out this year, the new Nico D'Angelo / Hazel book that Marco Shiro is co-writing with Rick Riordan. So we'll talk about that. And then once we finish that, it's really going to be like time to dive into the Sea of Monsters. Like we might like do some rereading of the Sea of Monsters. We might like repost our original episodes. That sounds kind of scary. And then we'll be ready to talk about the TV show. Something else that I think is really exciting is that we got all of our original guests from our original Sea of Monsters episodes to join us for our Cersei episodes, because they're all also really big fans of Cersei. So they'll all be coming back, which is, again, a little full circle 5th birthday party moment. Okay, yay! I think, is there anything else you want to say about Cersei, Carter?
It's going to be good.
I literally finished my reread like an hour before this live stream, so I'm really in the thick of my feelings.
Yeah.
Wow, it changed a lot changed for me, because I also read it 5 years ago for the first time, so a lot has changed in that time. Different things standing out. I'm really excited to talk about it with everybody. Okay, that brings us to actually doing our mailbag. Shall we bring in our guest host to the stage? Everybody applaud for Robert! Woo!
Hello!
Welcome, Robert, aka the Damn Meme Page, aka the Damn Mom Page.
Yes, if you are a part of the Seaweed Baby Patreon, everyone has sort of just made me mother. I also host a book club on the Patreon, so that's another extra reason to join.
You should join the book club. The book club just finished Song of Achilles, and what's the book club talking about next?
Sunrise on the Reaping.
Sunrise on the Reaping, which we also just recorded a very, very deeply chaotic Patreon episode on, which will be out sometime this week if I get my shiz together. So look forward to that. We brought Robert here to go through the Google form, of which there were many questions, and go ahead and spit them at us. So I think we're just going to go for that, and we'll try to get to as many as possible. And also, if you guys ask questions in the chat, I'll try to keep an eye on that as well.
All right. So I promise I'm reading them in order. However, Owen and I were both the first ones because we're just quick like that. So Owen's question from Through the Mist. Owen, how many years has he been listening to this podcast? Pretty sure I found out about you when you followed the podcast Insta account 5 years ago. That's a long time. And his question is, so we know what the greatest love story ever told is. What is the second best love story ever told? He says it's Spitfire from Young Justice.
I do really like Artemis and Wally a lot, but my second answer is always Kaz and Inej from Six of Crows, personally. Carter?
I've literally, we've like seen these questions in advance, and I was thinking about this a little bit in the background today. I should have had a better prepared answer. I kind of feel like it, my gut answer at this point is Sakura and Showdown from Cardcaptor. Yeah.
I feel like I could have predicted that for you.
Yeah.
And then the next one comes from me. I've been listening since more or less day one. Been memeing for almost 5 years for you guys. That's crazy to think about. And so my question, of course, And then, of course, my question is best seaweed brain meme.
For me, it's got to be the tetherball meme. It's got to be the tetherball meme, which I think I've subsequently cut out of the actual episode that it was in. I listened back to that episode. I have no idea what I was talking about. It had something to do with Annabeth hits the tetherball on her way, like storming out of a conversation with Percy. Yeah, and it like spins all the way around. And I said that was a metaphor for her, like queerness. And I don't know. I mean, I think I clicked at the time. I don't doubt that at the time I knew what I was talking about.
That's strong.
And I think it was the conspiracy theory meme, pointing to the conspiracy board.
Oh, I remember. Yeah, that was it. Carter, do you by chance have a favorite?
I think that the like this is like kind of a cheating answer. I really appreciate that now my primary mental association when I see an image of Bernie Sanders is the meme page and not anything else particularly about the many. I mean, like, it's obviously like other people have used this meme that I'm once again asking you, but it has been so beaten into the ground in this context that I cannot associate that image with basically anything else at this point.
One of our podcaster friends, I'm not going to say who for that level of privacy, one of our podcaster friends was on a date and was briefly mentioning like, oh, I do a Percy Jackson podcast and blah, blah, blah. And the date was like, Percy Jackson podcast, they sometimes talk about those like on Instagram. And it was like, yeah, that's the meme page. I know that guy. That's so
fame
funny,
and fortune, Robert. That's what fame feels like.
Oh boy. Now we have a question from, I apologize in advance if I get your name wrong. If you are in the chat and you hear your name, please correct me. I'm looking at the chat as we go through. This one comes from Anamika, who says
Anamika,
who is here.
Who has corrected me on their name many times.
Fantastic. One more time. What's it? Anamika, who says 4 years ago found you from the Half-Blood Report with Diego and Samuel. That is quite a throwback.
Shout out to Diego and Samuel, the original children.
They did invent being children, yeah.
Even though I think now, because time has passed, they might no longer be children, but we're not going to think about that.
But they were the originals.
Oh yeah. The question is, when are you going to dress up as the Grey Sisters for Halloween?
Oh, wow.
Carter, I literally invited you to hang out with us Halloween in New York, and you haven't gotten back to us yet. Me, you, Sammy?
Maybe this is the year. I think it's like whenever we can co-localize, but it really might be the year. We'll see what, yeah.
We're unfortunately very separated. We're literally coastal elitism on the opposite sides of the country. But as soon as we can be together for Halloween, or if we can swing New York Comic Con, I really think it's a good idea.
Oh, yeah.
Because this is the Sea of Monsters here. Like, they will be promoting
the Sea of Monsters here. We could try do like a what would Margaret Cho, Sandra Bernhard, and Kristen Schaal be as the Grey Sisters, I guess, to be more precise. Yeah.
Maybe this year.
Next up, we have a question from Abby, who says they've been listening for 4 years. COVID memory all blurs together. Yeah, definitely. With the question, what do you think the trio would each put for their Letterboxd top 4 films?
Woo! I only just started my Letterboxd in January.
And don't ask for it. Don't look for it. Everybody on our system, don't try to find it. I think you probably won't find it, but don't try to find Erica's. Authenticity is too dangerous and expensive. I'm a little bit worried because I feel like mine might be. It's not. Mine is probably, I think, also not findable. We're mutuals.
You also thought your personal Twitter account wasn't findable, but I found that.
Woo! Okay. I think Grover's probably going to be easiest.
Pan's Labyrinth.
Pan's Labyrinth, easy money. That's such a cheap joke, but it is 100% what he would do. I think Mononoke.
What about something like Blackfish?
Is that getting too stereotypy? I think that one of them has to be like fictional, like either like Mononoke or Okja.
Mononoke for sure. That's an easy too.
Mononoke. I think Blackfish I could see. I feel like one of them has to be like very in the vein of So Yesterday. Like I want like
The Lizzie
very
McGuire
like
movie. The Lizzie McGuire movie.
The Lizzie McGuire movie. That's right.
This is the third time I've talked about that movie in this day. I just want you guys to know that. Always gone from sight, but not from our hearts. The Lizzie McGuire movie.
That's Grover.
Oh, some people are saying for Grover, also alternatively, the Lorax.
But like, I guess this is where the period piece versus non-period piece question really comes into play, because I don't think that Grover, if like Grover is already like in the maturity of Percy and Annabeth in 2005, I don't think that he would be living for the like Taylor Swift, Zac Efron, Lorax that came later. Maybe. I don't know.
Vic in the chat saying Fern Gully, absolutely co-signing Fern Gully. Definitely. Regardless of period pieceism.
Yeah.
Okay, that's Grover.
Annabeth is hard.
Grover. Annabeth is really hard.
Annabeth is hard, and that one's really like I'm assuming we would do Annabeth like as like a moving present 17-year-old.
17-year-old, yeah, as opposed to like 12-year-old Annabeth.
Yeah.
See, I hate that because I just want to say all of my favorite movies. You know what I mean? Like, Annabeth would find Being John Malkovich to be so intellectually correct. Probably The Hours. The film adaptation of The Hours would be Annabeth's favorite movie. I do think she would like The Hours, though.
I do think she would actually like The Hours. I think that's right.
I think she would also be really into, like, the Black Widow movie.
A good movie.
I guess. Yeah.
Jurassic Park, the original Jurassic Park.
Ooh, you know what?
I actually really see the vision for that.
Yeah, like she watched
Laura
it with her
Dern.
dad. Laura Dern. Annabeth definitely is a Laura Dern fan.
Yeah, I really see that for her.
The Woman King. The Woman King. The Woman King.
Moving present. This is Annabeth, 17-year-old in 2025, was really into the Woman King. I see that.
Absolutely. It's very Athena coded.
Yeah. Okay. That feels reasonable. I also feel like Loki, I don't see Annabeth being like a huge movie buff. I feel like of the three of them, I would imagine Grover being the most like, I care about this.
Pop culture.
We have to remember that in the show, Annabeth has never seen a movie.
Exactly. If we're talking TV specific Annabeth, she's not seeing movies. They're not doing movie nights at Camp Half-Blood, which is very sick and twisted, I think. Very sick and twisted.
Lightning round.
Percy. Ooh.
I just want to do the same thing Erica would have done for Annabeth and just list my favorite movies.
Point Break, is that cheap?
Sure. Why not? Point Break.
Hear me out. Surf's Up. The Penguin movie.
Oh my god. I'm
Finding
throwing
Nemo.
It Back to the Future. I'm throwing him Back to the Future because Walker's a Back to the Future fan.
Wait, I
Finding
feel
Nemo
like
would be
a Ryan Reynolds movie. Like I think that's like Walker, Percy,
Deadpool.
Core, like
Nah.
Proposal, maybe? I don't, but I'm trying to think of Ryan movies that I like. No shade.
I think Walker Percy is probably really into like Mission Impossible.
Oh yeah.
You know, like a classic
3
action film.
I don't know which ones are good ones actually. That's not
Teen Beach Movie. Teen Beach Movie.
I feel like classic. I could see. I feel like one of them should be like a Jackie Chan joint as well. Like I'm thinking like maybe Super Cop,
The Foreigner,
Rush Hour. I don't know. Well, these are some good suggestions in the chat.
Yeah, there's a lot of Lolo saying Indiana Jones.
Pacific
Lemonade.
Also, hello. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, that's enough.
That's enough of that.
What's the next one? Next question.
I appreciate that.
Next question is from Laura, who has been listening to the podcast for a year and loves it. Keeps me from overthinking life alone. And Laura's question is, would you accompany each other into Tartarus? And if yes, what do you think the other would struggle with the most?
You guys, we're literally submitting for Amazing Race this year. Is this the official
Which in
announcement?
many ways is the same thing. you could argue. We've like traveled together. We've had travel experiences that have had like various extenuating hurdles to go
Yeah,
through.
like when you broke your knee and then we went to Japan. Me waking up in total darkness to Carter doing bicycles on our futon in Japan because their knee was broken not but 6 months prior to this trip. And then we were walking everywhere.
It was more recent. The knee was broken and it like cracked, split down the middle of the patella in April, and we were walking like somewhere between 10 and 15 to 20 miles a day
by July.
In July, yeah. Is that an answer to the question? I don't know.
But similarly to why I think we're going to be good at Amazing Race, the things that we bring to Tartarus. Carter is fast and I am strong. We're both good at rhythm. I think we can do short-term and long-term memory well. Carter, I think, is pretty directionally talented, so we would know, where to go intuitively. And I think that I could talk my way out of any circumstance, like if we got into a problem, I could trickery my way out. So I think that's what we would individually bring to both Tartarus and to the Amazing Race. Consider this our first draft of our video application that we have to do in the coming months.
We'll have to keep iterating. But yeah.
All right. Next question we got is from, I'm going to take a crack at this, Rania,
yes.
Who has been listening for 2 years, and they found you by scrolling through Spotify through Percy Jackson podcasts. And their question is, what is your favorite part of this experience with the podcast been?
Friendship. Carter and I's friendship, but also the friendships with Robert and all of our other friends. And also, speaking of Rania, like all of the patrons and like podcast listeners who I have become friends with, especially over the last year of touring around and getting to meet so many people and like hang out. I just got to meet Gwen, who's here right now in the group chat. It's just been very special. Like actual community building, which a lot of that I have to shout out Robert for. Literally building our Discord brick by brick by hand. Also Owen, who is asleep right now in London.
Yeah.
Carter, what do you like about doing the podcast? No, I think that's the answer. I don't know how much I can add to that. If we were to name a particular experience to add on to that, the fact of going to like the Met for the premiere was there's like the Met and the premiere of it all, but like the idea of like having like an excuse to just like go across the country for like 3 days to just like to do other things, but like to hang out, is like as you get elderly. I don't know how old everyone in the chat is. I feel like as I get elderly, I'll speak from the first person perspective, that's like the kind of thing that is very valuable.
Yeah. Friendship, number one, and number two being like tangentially related to the act of creating the canon, being like tangentially related to the TV show has been really, really, really special. I think that probably the like hands down most special moment of doing this podcast besides friendship was when Nicole, Charlie's mom, like tapped us on the shoulder and was like, "Are you Erica and Carter?" That was literally I will carry that moment with me for the rest of my life. When my memory fades, I will have only the moment of Nicole Bushnell tapping us on the shoulder. That will be the one thing I have when I walk into the underworld. So very special.
That is very fun. Where the heck am I? We have next question from Caitlin, who found you through their Perciveth Fields fandom account during
Speaking
lockdown
of friendship
in 2020 or 2021. And their question is, if there's one thing you could have changed about the podcast or improved on, what would it be?
Oof. I wish I was faster with editing. I think that's my only answer. And sometimes it's easier, and sometimes it takes a really long time. I also don't think the podcast would be what it is if I wasn't hand editing it, though, which is the reason why I'll never let anybody else edit. Not that anyone's ever asked. Carter. But yeah, it's bittersweet. I mean, like, not really. I think we've learned from every mistake we've ever made. You know what? I will say, I wish I don't think that this could be changed because we had to learn as we went along, but I do wish we had more foresight into like more belief in ourselves that eventually Becky and Rick would listen to this show, because then I would have been, I think, had a better perspective on how to, like, death of the author go about our conversations about the books.
I low-key feel like, I don't know. I don't identify as one of those people, but I think podcasting is a medium, and this is the kind of thing where a mistake almost feels like a category error to me. Like, it's, I don't think it's supposed to be an unimprovable product that goes out, especially like over the course of 5 years. Like, you know, it should change. It should get better. And like, but like, I don't think the fact of changing and getting better is evidence of like early stuff being regrettable. Like, it might have flaws, but I don't think that's the same thing as feeling like that should have gone differently. Yeah.
Agreed.
Let's see. So next question by Gwen. Speaking of Gwen, who has been listening since 2020 or 2021 and found you guys by just looking for mundane task background noise.
Happy to serve.
Gwen's question, of course, is: will there ever be a Seaweed Brain meetup?
So that is like a thing where you like go in person and you like say we're going to this place and people can come, right?
Yes.
I feel like we could do that in New York.
Oh, most definitely.
We could do a Central Park Sheep's Meadow. I feel like that's where people from the internet meet, like in case of murder, right? In Sheep's Meadow. I think we could do that, like theoretically, next time Carter's in town. Again, it's hard being separated by distance and time zones, but that'd be fun. It would be fun, and also way easier than doing like an in-person live show. So maybe that's like the first step towards that.
Next up, we have a question from David, who has been listening from the beginning. David says, because of COVID, it was just working home. At work, I listened to a lot of podcasts and music, and at some point I didn't want to hear either one. That's when I started audiobooks, Percy Jackson being the first one. Eventually I wanted to see if there were reviews or breakdowns of the books, and I found this podcast. And David's question is a classic: waffles or pancakes?
Waffles.
Waffles.
Yeah, you really can't go wrong with a good waffle. Let's see. We have one from Amelia, who has been listening for 2.5 years and found you guys via a YouTube short that had an audio clip from one of your Magnus Chase episodes.
Wait, good for me, occasionally posting to YouTube shorts. I don't think I've done that in months, but I will again. Good to know.
With the question, what is the most unhinged piece of Carter and Erica lore from when you went to school together?
I have a favorite. I can go first, and then Carter, you can think of something. A lot of Carter's t-shirts in high school. Many, if not all, of Carter's t-shirts in high school. The neckline was like all the way out to the side and down past their collarbones, because I used to grab onto the back of their shirt walking between classes and make them drag me across campus in high school to get to our next class, because it was very hot. Listen, growing up with Hawaii, it's hot. Yeah, tired. 80 degrees, humidity, and Carter, very strong, like I said, fast, strong legs. And so I would hold on, and we would say mush mush, like Carter was. Like a husky from the movie what's that movie?
Balto?
Balto, from the movie Balto. And I would go mush mush, and I would pull on Carter's shirt.
Wow. There are like a lot of things that come to mind. I feel like the thing. I feel like the story that is on my spirit to share at this moment, that I think we've alluded to before, is that like some of our friends were doing like an independent English project together. Like, instead of taking a class, we just enrolled in this independent thing where we met with a teacher and designed our own curriculum and read through some books together. And like, the salient piece of this, I think, for the purpose of this conversation, is that Erica was like enrolled in a full slate of other classes, but attended all of our meetings and was like actually like on the reading, which was like, I mean, like, it wasn't like a Herculean load or anything, but it was like roughly like one book of kind of like mostly like philosophy theory stuff like per week. That was a very fun time.
I think to add to that, for fun specificity's sake, for the anecdote, I was just emailing back and forth with our teacher, who was our supervisor for that, because we were trying to convince her to come see Waiting for Godot in New York City. That's where the freaking Seaweed Brain meetup should be, at the Keanu Reeves production of Waiting for Godot on Broadway. Let's open small. It was a senior independent project, so it was an SIP. So our teacher, referred to us as her sippy cups, like SIPPIE, sippy cups. So she still calls us that. Yeah. Sippies.
Wonderful. All right, so we have a question from Elsa, who has been listening for about 3 years and found y'all when Elsa was looking for a Percy Jackson podcast. Loved the name and started to listen. To be fair, Seaweed Brain's a great name for SEO. Which episode has been your favorite to do and why?
What comes to mind immediately for me is talking to John Steinberg. I was like unwell for days after we did that. I was really unwell. That was like, I was so intimidated, like so nervous. Very, very, very nervous. We'd spoken to him before, but not really like one-on-one and not for an hour. And he's very, 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 very smart. And I didn't want to say something to sound foolish. And it was just so rewarding. And I thought it went so well. And it was really great to, like, I feel like you feel like you've got all these thoughts about these characters that you've had in your head since you were a child. And all of a sudden it's not in your head anymore. Like, and not only is it you and Carter who have the same thought, it's like this random, like, grown man who is a professional who's having the same thoughts, and being able to like connect like that on something that has been like growing moss in your brain for such a long time with like a real adult professional person who is now in charge of that property was one of the most rewarding experiences of my life.
There are like several things that I could say. I would, the first thing that's coming to mind, and the thing that I think is actually the honest, true answer, is the first Gracie Kim interview episode, for several reasons. I think it was like the first time that like I, as like the non-producer who shows up and chats and does things, like that was the first moment where I was like, oh, like Erica's like really like made connections, done a thing, like built something that is like transcending beyond like literally anyone can sit around with microphones and talk to their friends, which is a good and valuable thing that I think we should encourage people to do. But also that it was a moment where it's like, oh, like this is like a real other person who like doesn't know us and doesn't really owe us anything, and it's like doing this not particularly because of like some sense of personal obligation. And it was the first ever episode that my father listened to, because he was like, oh, I haven't read the books before, I'm gonna wait until I read the books, and someday maybe I'll catch up and do this. And that one, he was like, it's an interview, I'll just tune in. And he was like, oh, I thought she was really fun. This is a fun thing.
And the approval from Carter's father means everything to me.
All right. We have a question from Sam, who's been listening for 2 years, and the reason they found this podcast is because they're dating Carter. And
Sam is literally in the other room right now. I don't know. I think he just commented.
We love a good bit. And they asked, when were you closest to ending the podcast?
That is such a messy question. Damn.
Samuel. Gasp. Probably when I went on tour. I don't know. No. Because we had already done the TV show at that point.
I genuinely don't know.
I don't think I was ever going to quit. I mean, there was a time when we went down to like one episode every 2 weeks just for time management, which was like maybe senior year of college.
There were like several big life transitions that happened like during the scope of this podcast. Like I will say, like, you know, Erica like moved to New York, did this tour, like lots of things. I like wrote a senior thesis. I like started grad school, moved across the country. It was
total vocal rest at one point. I couldn't talk for a couple months, like 2 years ago. I don't even know how we did that. How we managed that. Did we take a break? I don't remember. Um,
Those are all the things that are coming to mind, though. Like these, like
yeah,
life logistical difficulties.
yeah. We've slowed down at times, but we've never stopped. And that I actually am very proud of. It was but I never felt like we were gonna stop. I've never felt like we were gonna stop. Like maybe we need to take a break, or like maybe I could reframe this question as, when do I feel really hard on myself about the podcast and like bad on myself? And that's when I like miss a week or an episode is late or something like that. But like even if it's late, or even if we take a break, or we like reduce episodes or they're shorter, we've kept going, and that I am very proud of. Sam, not gonna get drama out of us today.
All right. We have a question from Daniel, who has been listening for about a year and found y'all through one of the other podcasts and wants to know, what is your favorite god in the Red Pyramid?
Sobek?
That is a troll answer. That's not.
Is it? I mean, we've seen the photo. I can see the appeal.
I'm just a girl.
So back for the realness.
Mm.
I feel like it's I think saying Bast is like basically cheating. So I'm gonna go with Thoth. Which is also a boring
Thoth,
answer, but like
no,
it's
we did
real.
love Thoth. I love Thoth a lot. Speaking of messy,
Thoth do be great. We have a question from Mackenzie, who's been listening for 2.5 years and found you through a recommendation from a friend. Who would like to say, wait, can I, is this? Oh, okay, there, I can read the whole question for a second. Me and my boyfriend have been debating over the proper order in which to read Percy Jackson's The Newcomer, including side books such as Greek Gods or the Demigod Files. What would you guys say is the correct way to read them from the start?
I feel like Jillian just did an article about this. I feel like Jillian Bloom, our friend, who writes for who does Jillian write
The
for now?
Direct.
The Direct still.
I believe
did
it's
an
The Direct.
did an article like with the
Yes.
correct chronological timeline in which you should read them, and we can find that link because that is a good resource.
Would you recommend that though? Like for specifically when we're thinking about Trials, new trilogy ordering, you would chronological, like in universe chronological.
I found it. I found the article.
Hmm.
I think chronologically, but I don't think there's a wrong answer, you know?
I think I'm lightly team publication order.
Oh yeah, because like I don't think you should read the senior year adventures
No, not
before
first.
you've read the Trials of Apollo. Even though technically that would be the order.
I don't know. I disagree. That's
You
your
do?
opinion. I'm gonna weigh in. Why not read? I think when all the books are properly out, reading them in timeline order is going to be a trip. Especially if you start with what's the short story called? The Diary of Luke.
That would be an interesting experiment.
It's already an experiment one of our friends is doing. Fran, whose whole podcast is going through the books in timeline order.
That's true.
All right. So we have
The
a
one
question
like
from-
edge case is I think the two big anthology books that are sort of like reference books, but like in Percy's voice. I kind of feel like those should go after everything, low key, but also everyone should do whatever they want.
I think it's implied like in the text of those books where it's like, yeah, I got through all these adventures and now Apollo got me like a deal with a book publisher person to talk about the gods and whatever.
I actually haven't read those. The Percy Jackson, the Greek Gods, and the Percy Jackson, the Greek Heroes.
Mm.
Save that
They-
content for another time.
They are quite a read, I will say this.
They're big.
They're big. We have a question from Darcy, who is one of the co-hosts of the Magical Myths podcast. So they've been listening since May of 2023 when Sun and the Star released, and that your name had been popping up during COVID. And Darcy's question is, do you reckon the portrayal of the Hunters of Artemis should be changed for the show to reflect the experiences of Arrow Aces and the idea that they are Arrow Ace, as opposed to being forced to be alongside the idea that the Hunters are being represented as Rick's dumping ground? Oh boy. Bonus, would you want would you want a Hunters of Artemis standalone written in collaboration with an Arrowverse author?
Oh yeah.
Mm.
We definitely want the Hunter standalone book. I think that the way that they portray the Hunters in season 3 is going to be very exciting.
I'm still waiting for this. What are they hunting at the end of Trials of Apollo? Like some kind of fox, I think?
Yes.
A fox or a wolf or something. I forget what they're hunting, but there was like a big deal of like they're hunting some mythical animal for the majority of Trials of Apollo.
Carter and I had a lot of we have a lot of thoughts about the Titan's Curse adaptation, and I think we did kind of verbalize what we think the hunters should how they should be portrayed in the TV show and like how they should be adapted, which was, I mean, you could chime in here, Carter, but given enough breadth for everybody to project what they need to project onto them. Like that there is no one definitive reading of the hunters because they mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people, and that everybody should have the room and the ability to identify with them.
Yeah. I don't, and like I recognize like that's not like a costless thing to say, that like some people are going to find that it's a less fulfilling allegory and like thing to read into because of a lack of precision and specificity. But I kind of feel like this is an instance where that's appropriate to me. And I do and I will echo that we are looking forward to the co-authored Hunters follow-up book.
Yeah, I think something we felt very strongly about was that the word maiden could very easily be eliminated from the adaptation. That like the whole idea of like eternal maidenhood is not a phrase that need be used to describe what the hunters are. And that perhaps without eternal maidenhood, we can lean more into like capital Q queerness being like the queer collective that the hunters are. Maybe they can be older. Like a wider range of ages, you know?
Yeah. Speaking of wider range of ages, there were a couple people in the comments being like, Erica Zoe Nightshade when?
Listen, you wanna put that into the internet? I'm not gonna stop you.
I think this is a fun, like everyone, if you have a free moment, think about how can I get Erica bookings, gigs, and
we can start a channel in the Discord server that's just like, what roles should we be submitting Erica for on Actors Access right now? If anyone wants to make an Actors Access count and just start scrolling, feel free.
Woo!
Boy.
I'm gonna have forward deadline articles and be like, ooh,
I'm about to be unemployed, you guys. I'm literally gonna be unemployed in exactly 7 days. So
that's crazy. All right, we have a question here from Sam, who has such a similar last name to Sam Reich, the CEO of Dropout, that I for 10 seconds thought it was Sam Reich. It's not Sam Reich. I love Dropout TV. Who has been listening for 4 or 5 years and found you by accident on Spotify. And the question is, was podcasting something you wanted to do outside of PJO? I guess the better question is, which came first, the pod or the seaweed brain?
first of all, I have a Dropout TV subscription as of the last couple weeks, and it's the best thing ever. I highly recommend it.
Dimension 20, Game Changer.
They're everything.
Yeah, it's great.
Shout out to my incredible friend Anna Garcia, frequent Dropout TV criminal. Like we said, podcast came first, decided on Percy Jackson second, but I feel like doing Cersei on the pod is a great way of expanding a little bit, and I really enjoy our Patreon episodes where we get to talk about whatever we want. The people know, like especially the original listeners know, like Pop Culture Happy Hour is our everything, and so getting to talk about all kinds of media is the dream. I still feel like the one dream we have not fulfilled yet, like the only dream we haven't fulfilled yet, I feel like with this podcast is being guests on Pop Culture Happy Hour to talk about Percy Jackson one day. So hopefully
Season 2. Hey, Liz Mesker?
call us
Call us up.
Incredible. All right. We have a question. Oh, hello. Why is this? Okay. We have a question here from Ellie, who's been listening for 2 years. By the way, there was also a supplementary question as of, do you think Percebeth's the greatest love story ever told? Unless I specify otherwise, pretty much everyone said yes.
Some people have listed, like, yes, it's that and something else, or like.
There's someone who jokingly put Snow and Lucy Gray, and I'm like, no, stop.
That's so evil.
That is very evil. But we have Ellie, 2 years. So we have a question from Ellie, who's been listening for 2 years, found your podcast on Reels, and got them obsessed with Percy Jackson again. And the question is, who has been your favorite interviewee so far?
Should we say something besides John Steinberg and Gracie?
Y'all technically got to interview Rick and Becky.
Well,
technically.
Sort of, kind of.
That was, it was a very special day. That was a very special day.
Yeah.
It was a very special day. But we didn't really get to ask them questions ourselves.
No, but Rick did answer the question of Percebeth being the greatest love story ever told.
Yeah, that was really awesome. We love they're so great. I think my answer is Mark.
I think Mark is what I would say.
Again, I was intimidated. I was nervous. Mark is very smart. Also like realness, like you cannot be fake in front of Marco Shiro. We had such a great conversation.
Shout out to the New York stop of the Sun and the Star tour, where Mark just casually called you out while they were talking.
We were there together, Robert.
We were there together.
That was such a great day.
Yeah. We have, if I remember correctly, these are like great Seaweed Brain guests. We have Maddie and Tom, her dad.
Those were some of the best episodes of the podcast.
Talk about fulfilling, rewarding, most important moments of my life that I will carry with me forever. Parental approval. Oh.
And that was connected to a live stream, right? Because Maddie won trivia.
Maddie won trivia, yep.
Yes. Who has been listening for 3 years, found you guys through Instagram, and there's 2 questions. One, if Luke Castellan had been born into the world of Luke Castellan had been born into the world of the Hunger Games, would he be a villain, a villainized victim, or a hero?
Well, he's definitely from the districts.
Yeah. I'm gonna go hero. Yeah.
Tragic hero, yeah.
Then on a lighter note, who among the demigods would be Six of Crow fans? Annabeth, Rhaena.
Percy's not reading, so it's not gonna be Percy.
Not the Percy's not reading.
I do think if you convinced Zoe to read them, like if Talia convinced Zoe to read them, Zoe would just die for Inej.
I think that's right.
Yeah. We have Charlotte, who's been listening since 2022 and found y'all on ye old Twitter when all the Percy Jackson TV stuff was happening. Charlotte's question is, if you had to write yourself into the Rider universe, what non-human character would you like to be?
The Grey Sisters?
Besides the Grey Sisters?
What are the 2 monsters that are by Cersei's Island? It's
Skillet. I was about to say Skillet and Charybdis as my second answer.
That's a good dynamic set too.
Harder question. Which one is which?
Who do we associate as the seaweed? Who do we associate as the brain?
This is hard to separate from Cersei in my mind because Skillet is a very big important character in Cersei.
That's true. Charybdis is kind of not. She doesn't have the same, I think, level of backstory.
I would say because Charybdis is more surrounded in mystery, that feels more like Carter. Unknowable, inscrutable.
I think I drink beverages in more aggressive fashion. Maybe
that's literally not even true.
It's
it will
literally
take you
the opposite
4
of the truth,
hours to finish a boba. That's a freaking lie.
Oh, geez. Let's see. So now we have a question from Jaden, who's been listening for 4 years after a Spotify recommendation. What are your top 3 Percebeth moments and top 3 any other Riordiverse couple moments?
Underwater kiss. Nobody touches her. Knife. You dropped this. Right?
There's so many to choose from. I feel like those all are correct answers. My first reaction is Fall into Tartarus. Like trying to send the other one through the doors, and volcano about to erupt.
Kiss for good luck.
Kiss for the first time.
Oh, so many good ones. And the thing is, like, nothing is like, you can't even say overplayed, you know? Like, you can't say the Tartarus Fall is overdone because there is no such thing, you know?
One of one.
One of one, yeah.
Additional side question for y'all, the Persebeth scholars. How many Persebeth kisses are there in the original 5 books?
That's a good trivia question.
In the original 5, are there not
Underwater,
just the 2?
Battle of Labyrinth. Do they
and then, like,
kiss at the docks
after,
at the end?
like...
Do they kiss
do.
before they get into the lake? Okay,
Yes.
so 3.
You are correct.
Okay.
I put that question up on like my story and on Thread, and so many people were like too, because I guess everyone forgets about the kiss on the dock / the dining pavilion
Before everybody
Yeah.
shows up. Oh,
Yeah. All right, we have a question here from Rose, who's been listening for 2 years and found you all through Twitter. Twitter, am I right? What is your favorite way the power of love is shown in the Percy Jackson universe? Doesn't have to be romantic.
Power of love.
It's a curious thing.
Oh. Wow, I don't know why my gut is telling me to say Sally. Like protecting Percy with Gabe.
Yeah.
I don't know why that's what's coming to mind for me right now.
I always
The
flash back
sacrifice?
to what like Rob's main influence for the Percy Jackson musical character-wise was the relationship between Percy and Sally.
Because I just did this annotation thing and was doing like a kind of very slow reread through the transcripts recently, there's this monologue that he has internally on Olympus as he is Iris messaging Sally, where he's sort of checking the boxes through like everything that he's just done in this one book and using it as sort of his frame of reference for like how he wants to end this conversation with her about Paul Blofeld. That to me is like an incredible, and it like really is him being like, I am like coming of age, I understand masculinity anymore, and here are my updated feelings about romantic love and all of these horrible things that go with it. And yet, having said all of that, I want to make sure that my mom feels like she can pursue this relationship. And this is the one where like he's sitting there, he's doing all this, and what he comes out with is like, does he make you happy? I feel like that really that kind of wraps up many of the different love threads of the books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think also because I just finished Cersei. No spoilers if you haven't read the book, but like the idea of motherhood as being like protection but also distance, and how you can raise your child knowing like that they are very likely to have like a tragic fate, but still giving them like the freedom to live their own life. Because like Sally Jackson said, if my life's gonna mean anything, I gotta live it myself. Like the ability to pass that on to your child, who all you want to do is protect them, but like giving them the power to live their own life, I think that's very hard to wrap your head around.
Right. We have a question from here from Anna, who has been listening since the Sea of Monsters, and their question is thoughts on Hiccup and Astrid from How to Train Your Dragon as a Persebeth parallel.
I don't think I've ever seen all of How to Train Your Dragon. Oh,
Gasp!
I am caught up in it. However, I don't know if I should say this in public in front of everyone.
Is this
on the
unhinged
internet.
lore?
It's not unhinged lore. I think that for like Twitter, this is like just like a regular thing that many people would say. My primary shipping association with Hiccup, I'm going to be so for real, is not literally any of the characters in How to Train Your Dragon. It is that wild array of ships between Hiccup and like basically all of the other animated movie characters that appeared roughly from 2011 to 2014.
like people shipped like Elsa and Jack Frost.
This was the era of people shipping Elsa and Jack Frost. I was at a birthday party at some point recently where people were doing like a shipping tournament, and I think Hiccup and Jack Frost was like very near the top of that tournament. And that is the most recent time I've had the opportunity to think about Hiccup as a cartoon character.
We live in a society, and we come from a culture.
Oh my god! I'm moving this on. We have a question from Molly, who's been listening since 2021, who just searched Percy Jackson podcast. Yeah, we've all done that, haven't we? And Molly's question is: if you could have one character from the Riderverse guest on the pod, who would it be?
Should we say it at once, Carter? 3, 2, 1.
Zoe?
I was gonna say Zoe. Secondarily, Reyna.
I'm just imagining y'all having Zoe on and like occasionally having to correct. Would you correct her ye old English, or you just let her vibe?
No,
Absolutely
never.
Not, girl. Grace us with your posture. Give us a thee and a thou. Do what you must.
We have a question here from Charlotte, who has been listening for a year and found you guys by hearing you on the newest Olympian. Who is the mother of the Riderverse?
I'm so sorry to Becky, but the mother of the Riderverse, I think we all know it is. Is it not at this point Robert? I think.
I don't think
no
I
disrespect.
I'm not in the Riderverse. I don't think I count.
I think Becky would also
we're
vote for
supposed to
Robert.
say, like a character? Like I thought we were talking about like
the
humans
fandom
who produce content and organized communities.
I think it's Robert.
I'll take it. I'm honored. We have a question here from Logan, who's listening for 2 years through a Tumblr recommendation. What are changes in the Percy actions? What are changes in the Percy Jackson? Jesus Christ! What are changes in the Percy Jackson show you've seen / hope to see that can introduce or better explore ideas and themes you wish you saw more in the books?
Changes. I'm really interested to see what goes on with Clarice and Selena moving forward. I think that is something that we don't see a lot of because we're in Percy's perspective, and that's something I'm really excited to pick up on more in the writing.
That's a strong answer. Should I also
room for yearning? Room for yearning. You know what I mean? Room for it.
Mm.
Should I also look into the future? I mean, we've already talked a little bit about the Hunters. Titan's Curse is their favorite book. I feel like, I almost everything about this. I'm very curious to see what Zoe and Talia's relationship is going to end up looking like on screen, because that's also one where like I don't know how much this is baked into the way that this book is remembered and the lore of it. But there's like Titan's Curse is kind of the first time there's like a lot of off-screen action happening with multiple people who are primary characters in the book. Every other time when somebody's off screen, they're like inanimate. They are trapped with Polyphemus, who is not like a person that we know and have feelings and relationships with. But like Titan's Curse is one where like there is so much drama happening off the page between Zoe and Talia and Annabeth, and there are all these conversations that they're having that Percy is just kind of like inferring and feeling some type of way about. How much of that are we going to see? I'm very curious to know.
Next, I got a question from Izzy, who has been listening since y'all started covering just shows, so like a year and a half-ish. If you went back in time and told past you how far y'all have gotten with this podcast, how do you think they'd react? So like the Erica and Carter, who literally like just finished recording episode 1.
Edit carefully.
Well, it wasn't like what it wasn't like what advice would you give? The question is like, how do you think that you would react 5 years ago to knowing that this would still be happening? I think it'd be a light surprise, but like ultimately like I guess like why not?
Shock,
also, like,
yeah.
shock.
Shock. The shock that I felt when we first got the email that we were invited to the Met. That feeling of shock, I think.
All right. Now we have a question from Sophia, who's been listening for 3 years and found you through a friend's Spotify Wrapped.
Community.
Amazing. You guys have spent a lot of time analyzing these books. I truly believe that there is a reason why I keep revisiting them and why they are so meaningful to me beyond nostalgia. So my question is, what is the most important lesson that we can learn from these books / these characters? In what way can they influence us, and how can we take from what we've learned into our own lives?
3,
Is this
2,
a 1, 2,
1.
3?
Yielding.
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 It really has been a while. I think that like a lot of these where we really like the answers are prepared.
Yielding. Yeah, yielding. It's a hard lesson. We have to
Yeah.
relearn it every day. We're going to talk about
Yeah.
yielding when we talk about Sorcy.
Oh my gosh. We have a
Do you
question
think we can get through everything
I'm
in
sorry.
10 minutes? Do we think we can get through the rest? So should
No,
we start
it's
rapid
We gotta
firing?
like blitz it.
Okay.
All right, Ellen.
3, 2, 1 all the rest of the way.
I'm just gonna go for questions and names. Ellen, what would nectar and ambrosia taste like for you guys?
Shaka shaka guava lily koi green tea smoothie.
Yeah.
That's a book.
Maybe for both, because that's a drink and food.
Yeah. Lauren, any advice for someone interested in cosplaying as a demigod or just in general? I'm going to Comic-Con for the first time this year and I need lots of advice.
Comic-Con? Comfortable shoes.
Oh, yes, 100%.
Be prepared to be overstimulated and know that you may need to leave at certain times and come back inside. There's a lot of people.
They do have like rooms you can like quiet rooms, but
Quiet rooms.
either way, doesn't matter.
You will spend more money than you anticipated.
Set yourself a budget and then cry when you overspend. Rivers, what primordial being would have the best demigod children, and what would their powers be?
Primordial being.
N-
I don't really know what the parameters of this question are.
Neither do I.
Primordial would have the best demigod children, you said?
Yes.
Should we just say who we think the best demigod, like who has the best powers? I'm
Like
gonna go
among
with. I'm going Aphrodite kids. That's my answer.
I guess Aphrodite is a primordial being. Yeah.
We have Nora. Do you think the magic barrier at Camp Half-Blood keeps out UV radiation?
No, I think they're getting sunburnt. I think they're getting sunburnt.
I think they're getting sunburned as well.
We got, let's see. Maddie, who are your favorite characters?
Ever?
Ever. Yeah, it's not,
In
it's not-
fiction?
I guess. It's not specific to Percy Jackson. Who is your favorite characters?
The two girls from Sisters Grimm.
Oh! That's a beautiful answer. Wow. Wow. That really takes me back. Wow.
Rapid fire, Carter.
We got
Oh,
favorite character.
Should we alternate? We can start alternating. You can take the next one.
yeah, we can alternate.
We have a question from Micah. If you had the chance to switch one character from Percy Jackson and Ken Chronicles to each other's story, who would you pick and why and why?
Oh my god. These are good complex questions. It's difficult to do rapid fire. I think that it should be like a magic person going from Percy into Kane Chronicles, I feel like, because they would appreciate it more. And the like magic person, like I guess Hazel, as like witch in training would have a lot of fun.
Hazel and Sadie?
But like, would Sadie get anything out of the other way? I feel like Zia needs more people who are like her. That's the exchange I would make. Hazel gets to go be the witches. Zia gets to be with like mature girls in positions of leadership.
Love it.
Respectful. Where are we? Oh god. Shyla, who would be the most fun character to do karaoke with? Also, who's most likely to win a rap battle?
100% Grover. Arian is Grover. Karaoke. That's easy.
A question from Reading Outside Daily. Which Percy Jackson would you make real if you could choose only one? So, book, movie, TV show, or musical?
Real?
Like make him a real person, I guess. Which Percy would you make real?
We love all Percys equally. Next question.
I'm sorry, book is my favorite. We love all Percy's. Book is my favorite.
We love
They're all the
Percy's,
same.
musical's
They're
my
all the
favorite.
same. They're all the same. I think that they all share the same soul. I really do.
They do all share the same soul.
We have a question from Florence. What is the craziest ship you've seen for Percy and or Annabeth? Mine is Luke, Percy, and Annabeth. Luke and Percy and Annabeth and Clarice. I mean, that's not the craziest ship.
That time that we looked up all those ships online and it had like quadruple ships, that was nuts.
I feel like it's the ones with the gods. Where it's like a demigod and another god that's like, say, the like niece or nephew of their parent or something. Like that doesn't really, that's a no for me.
We have a question from Mal in Odyssey Summer. Will you cover Epic the Musical?
I don't know. I feel like I don't know if we can. It's too close to me. I don't know that I could cover something that a friend of mine made on the podcast.
Shout out to me being on the Discord, being like, "Oh, I'll bet $10 that Erica's not 3 degrees of separation from Jay," completely forgetting you were on something that they made.
Yeah, go listen to My Heart Says Go. I get royalties from that.
Hell yeah. You also got $10 from me because I did bet $10 and I'm a me page of my word. Bella.
And I Venmo you, and I Venmo'd Robert today to be our moderator. Paid labor.
We have a question from Bella. If you could try any food from the Rare Universe, what would you pick?
Did you say food?
Yes.
Carter, it's your turn.
Are there notable foods in the
I
Rare
think the one
Universe?
notable food is 7-layer dip.
Yeah.
I guess Sally's 7-layer dip. That's the only one I can think of. Like everything else is like a cop out. It's just your favorite food, right? And the like Percy Jackson books.
We got one from Haley. I don't know which ones. I'm just gonna read the bottom two because those are the funniest ones. Erica, what do you do for your warm-ups at Wicked? Carter, how's the PhD going?
Straw in water phonation. I do the same warm-up every single day so I can tell how swollen my vocal folds are. I use a nebulizer.
Oh, it's going okay.
We have Priscilla. If you could change any plot points or fill any plot hole in the entire PGA or HOO series, what would it be?
Leo Valdez. You are not coming back to life.
Leo Valdez. I don't think that's a plot hole. I think that's just something.
Leo Valdez, we are never to hear from you again.
I don't think it's plot hole. Oh my!
They're gonna be mad. They're gonna be mad about that one.
I know, but I can't lie. Like, why? We've come this far. We've gotten bad ratings.
Oh my gosh! And then last question we got is from Vic, who wants to know what kind of podcast do you think the Rick Riordan universe characters would listen to, if any, and which characters would actually listen to Seaweed Brain?
Annabeth would listen to Seaweed Brain.
Who's like a freaky girly? Who would listen to Magnus Archives? Clarice, maybe? No.
I'm gonna be so. I think that Grover and Annabeth are listening to Seaweed Brain, and I think that Percy is listening to The Newest Olympian. And that's my final answer.
No, Percy's listening to Horse. Mike Schubert.
Yeah, no, you're so right. He's listening to the basketball podcast.
Oh my god. That's it. Happy birthday, Seaweed Brain. The lights. It's a metaphor. It's symbolic.
Oh my god. Okay, well there was a world in which we played a game, but I think we did the thing, and we can do another one of these sometime where we do like we can all do quizzes together and do the time and see how that goes. Thank you everybody for coming to our birthday party. More information about the giveaway will be up on Wednesday when this episode comes out. The power of friendship is real. It's really, I didn't really know that anybody was going to come to this today, so it's really special that so many of you guys are here and stuck around. This is very special, and as we have said many times, we would be doing this if nobody was listening, but it makes it all the better that people do listen. So thank you all for listening and for joining us, no matter how long you've been listening. Thank you, Carter, for not quitting doing this podcast with me or breaking up with me as a friend. And thank you, Robert, for mentoring us, guiding us, momming our patrons and everything for so long now. Everybody, I love you all. And we will see you guys next time. Bye, guys. End stream.